triple. Most men lose women not because they aren't good enough, but because they make subtle mistakes they don't even realize. It's not about being rich, tall, or having perfect looks. It's about understanding the unspoken rules of attraction and respect. If you keep crossing these invisible boundaries, you'll slowly push her away. And even if she loves you. Today, I'm going to share 6 things men should never do with women. And trust me, avoiding these will completely change the way women respond to you. Well, most men don't realize this, but one of the fastest ways to lose a woman's respect is by over-explaining yourself. The moment you start justifying every action, every decision, every word, you unconsciously communicate one thing: insecurity. And insecurity is the biggest turn-off, even more than a lack of money, status, or looks. Women are deeply intuitive. They can sense when a man doubts himself before he even says a word. And when you constantly feel the need to defend yourself, what you're really saying is, I don't trust that my actions speak for themselves. Or you see, attraction isn't built on words. It's built on energy, presence, and confidence. A man who knows who he is doesn't need to explain why he chose something or why he said no. His boundaries are clear without him having to put them into 1,000 sentences. But when you start over-explaining, you put yourself in a position where you're seeking her approval. And the moment she feels that, the dynamic shifts. She no longer sees you as the grounded, self-assured man she can lean on. She sees you as someone who's trying to earn her validation. Imagine this. She asks why you didn't text her back immediately. One man replies calmly, I was busy, and moves on without flinching. The other man nervously writes 3 paragraphs about how his phone died, how his boss called, how he was driving, and how he hopes she isn't upset. Who do you think she'll feel drawn to? It's not about being cold or dismissive. It's about communicating that your life doesn't need constant justification. Women respect men who move with certainty, who don't second guess their choices, and who don't try to convince anyone of their worth. Here's the truth most men miss: when you explain less, you become more intriguing. Mystery creates magnetism. It signals that you are secure enough to let your actions speak for themselves. And women are naturally wired to be drawn toward men whose sense of self isn't easily shaken. When you explain too much, you take away that tension, that edge, that quiet confidence that keeps her curious about you. But I'm not saying you should stay silent out of arrogance. This isn't about playing games. It's about emotional composure, the ability to stand by what you've said or done without feeling the need to manage her perception of you. When you own your choices fully, it sends a message that you trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, she learns to trust you too. The man who doesn't over-explain isn't careless. He's intentional. He listens. He speaks when necessary, and he lets his actions carry more weight than his words ever could. That's the kind of presence that commands respect. Because when a woman feels that you're grounded and unshaken, she feels safe. And safety is one of the most powerful drivers of attraction. So stop defending yourself unnecessarily. Stop explaining away every little thing. Move with quiet certainty and let your energy do the talking. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. And women can feel it long before you say a word. One of the biggest mistakes men make without realizing it is putting a woman on a pedestal. At first, it might seem harmless. You admire her beauty, her personality, her charm, and you want her to feel valued. But when admiration crosses the line into worship, everything begins to shift. The balance of power changes, and not in your favor. The moment you start treating her as if she's better than you, as if she's the prize, and you're lucky just to be in her presence, she starts believing it too. And once that happens, her attraction begins to fade, often without her even understanding why. Here's the truth. Women are not drawn to men who act like they are beneath them. Respect and value are essential, yes, but the moment you put her on a pedestal, you automatically place yourself lower. That dynamic creates an imbalance that kills attraction over time. Women are naturally wired to be drawn to men they can look up to, men who have a strong sense of self, who know their worth and stand firmly in it. When you behave like she's the center of your universe, you lose your gravity, and without gravity, there's nothing to pull her closer. Think about it. If every time you see her, you shower her with endless compliments, bend over backward to please her, and constantly remind her how amazing she is, what message are you sending? You're showing her that you see her as scarce, as someone so far above you that you need to overcompensate to keep her interested. But attraction doesn't work that way. She's drawn to men who see her as an equal, not as someone they have to constantly impress. When you put a woman too high above you, you unconsciously give her the power to validate or destroy your sense of worth. And the problem with that is simple. The moment she senses that you need her approval to feel good about yourself, she stops respecting you. A man who knows his value doesn't seek permission to be himself. He doesn't compete for her attention. He doesn't chase validation. He exists in his own frame. And that frame is what makes him magnetic. Ironically, The more you stop trying to prove your worth, the more she feels your value. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. It's knowing that while she may be special, so are you. That balance creates tension, intrigue, and mutual respect. She wants to feel chosen, yes, but she also wants to feel that you're choosing her from a place of abundance, not desperation. Remember, the moment you start treating her like the prize, you stop being one yourself. You lose the polarity that fuels desire. Women are attracted to men who hold their ground, who stand tall beside them, not beneath them. So value her, respect her, appreciate her, but never forget your own worth in the process. The more you see yourself as the prize, the more she will too. One of the most common mistakes men make when they start liking a woman is confessing everything they feel far too soon. I understand the impulse. When you feel drawn to someone, there's this natural desire to express it, to lay your heart bare, to make sure she knows exactly where you stand. But the problem is, when you give away everything too quickly, you strip away one of the most powerful forces in human attraction mystery. You see, desire isn't built through constant reassurance, it's built through curiosity. When you reveal every thought, every feeling, every intention up front. Triple, you leave nothing for her to wonder about, nothing for her to discover. And it's in that discovery, the slow unraveling of who you are, that true emotional connection grows. When you hand her the full story too soon, you create the illusion that you're already hers before she's even decided she wants you. That's when the energy shifts, and often, without meaning to, you make her lose interest. Women are naturally drawn to men who leave room for anticipation. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about allowing the connection to breathe, about letting her feel the excitement of not fully knowing where she stands. When you confess too much too early, you place all the cards on the table and remove the very tension that sparks attraction. Think about how human psychology works. We value what we earn, what we invest time and effort into understanding. When a woman has to wonder about you, when she has to observe your actions and interpret your intentions, she becomes more engaged. But when you immediately pour out everything, she doesn't have to work for it, and anything given too easily is rarely appreciated deeply. This doesn't mean you should hide your feelings or be emotionally closed off. It means pacing yourself. Let her get to know you gradually. Let her feel your presence, your energy, and your actions before your words spell out everything. Show her through consistency, not through desperate declarations. Because when a man is grounded and secure, he doesn't rush the process. He knows that if the connection is real, it will unfold naturally without forcing it. Ironically, the more you hold back from overexpressing, the more space you create for her to lean in. When you're not always available, when you're not constantly reminding her of your feelings, she starts to think about you more. She starts to miss you, to wonder about you, to want you. And that's when desire deepens, because she feels a part of the journey, not just the destination. Remember this. Emotions are powerful, but timing matters. Giving everything too soon doesn't build closeness. It suffocates it. Let her earn pieces of you. Let her discover you layer by layer. And she'll value the connection 100 times more. When you stop rushing to give away your heart, you give her a reason to want to hold it. Do you want me to expand key point 4 next? Keeping the same deep and emotionally intelligent flow, it'll connect perfectly with this. One of the most damaging mistakes men make in relationships is trying to control a woman. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's obvious, but the outcome is always the same. The more you try to restrict her, the more she slips away. At first, it might come from a place of care. You think you're protecting her, looking out for her, making sure she doesn't get hurt. But what often starts as concern can easily turn into possessiveness. And the moment she feels her freedom shrinking, she begins to pull back. Here's what many men don't realize. Attraction can't survive in an environment where freedom doesn't exist. Women are naturally drawn to men who make them feel safe, but safety isn't the same as control. Safety is when she knows she's trusted, when she feels free to be herself without being judged or restrained. Control, on the other hand, suffocates her sense of individuality. And no matter how much she loves you, the moment she feels caged, her desire will begin to fade. You see, when you dictate who she can see, where she can go, or how she should behave, what you're really communicating is insecurity. You're telling her without words that you don't trust her or believe in your own worth enough to let her choose you freely. And women can sense that. A confident man doesn't need to hold on tightly. His presence, his energy, and his value are enough to keep her close. When she feels trusted, she naturally gravitates toward you. When she feels controlled, she starts questioning everything. Think about it this way: love thrives in an open space. It's like holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you hold it gently, it stays. It's the same with relationships. The healthiest, most passionate connections happen when both people feel free and respected. When she chooses you every single day, not because she has to, but because she wants to. That's when desire deepens. Ironically, the less you try to control, the more power you actually hold. A woman who feels trusted gives you more than you could ever demand. She invests, she commits, and she connects on a much deeper level because she feels safe, not suffocated. This is where true loyalty comes from, not from forcing her hand, but from creating an environment where she wouldn't want to leave even if she could. When you move from control to trust, you shift from fear to strength. You stop reacting from insecurity and start leading from self-assurance. And when she feels that confidence radiating from you, her attraction only grows stronger. Because at the end of the day, a woman doesn't want a man who tries to own her. She wants a man who makes her choose him over and over again without ever being asked. Triple, do you want me to expand key point 5 next, keeping the same deep psychological and emotionally engaging tone? It'll naturally build on this. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is slowly abandon their own lives to prioritize a woman. At first, it might seem romantic. You cancel plans with friends to be with her. You pause your hobbies. You lose yourself in her world. In the beginning, she might even appreciate the attention. But over time, something shifts. The very thing you think will make her love you more often ends up making her lose respect for you. Because here's the truth most men don't realize. Women are not attracted to men who orbit around them. They are drawn to men who have their own gravity. A woman wants to be a part of your life, not the center of it. When you let go of your goals, your passions, and your ambitions just to keep her happy, you slowly stop being the man she was attracted to in the first place. In the early stages, she was drawn to your drive, your purpose, your energy, the fact that you had a life that excited you. But when you start giving all of that up for her, you unconsciously communicate that your entire sense of worth comes from being with her. And that's when the attraction starts to fade. You see, there's something magnetic about a man who is deeply invested in his own growth, a man who wakes up every day with direction, who works on his goals, and who continues to challenge himself. That's the kind of energy women gravitate toward. It's not about being rich, famous, or successful overnight. It's about having a sense of purpose, something bigger than the relationship itself. Because purpose creates passion, and passion is deeply attractive. When you neglect your own life, you not only lose yourself, but you also unintentionally create pressure on her. She starts feeling the weight of being responsible for your happiness. And that pressure eventually pushes her away. But when you continue to live fully, when you pursue your dreams and maintain your individuality, you inspire her instead of burdening her. She admires you, respects you, and wants to be a part of the world you're building. Ironically, when you focus on yourself, you don't lose her, you draw her in even closer. There's something irresistible about a man who doesn't need constant reassurance, who doesn't abandon his identity to fit into someone else's expectations. A man who loves deeply but still prioritizes his own journey creates an aura of stability and strength, and that stability makes her feel safe, desired, and proud to stand beside you. Never forget this, you are not here to complete her, and she is not here to complete you. Two whole individuals build the strongest relationships. Not two halves clinging to each other out of fear. When you make your life rich and meaningful, she'll want to be part of it. Not because she's all you have, but because you already have so much worth sharing. Do you want me to expand key point 6 next with the same deep, emotionally intelligent, and psychologically layered tone? It complete the flow perfectly. One of the most overlooked mistakes men make in relationships is ignoring a woman's emotional cues. Most men focus on what she says, but they miss what she feels. And the truth is, women communicate more through emotion than through words. Sometimes it's not about what she's saying, it's about what she's not saying. When you fail to notice the subtle shifts in her tone, her energy, her silence, you create distance without even realizing it. Over time, that emotional gap becomes the quiet killer of attraction. You see, a woman doesn't always need solutions. Sometimes she just needs to feel understood. But so many men respond to her emotions with logic, thinking they're helping when in reality they're disconnecting. She tells you she's upset, and instead of listening, you explain why she shouldn't feel that way. She withdraws, and instead of gently checking in, you assume she's fine because she didn't say otherwise. What you don't realize is that every time you dismiss, minimize, or overlook her emotions, you send her a subtle message. Your feelings don't matter here, and the moment she feels unheard, she begins to shut down. Understanding a woman's emotional world doesn't mean you have to agree with everything she feels. It means creating a space where she feels safe enough to express herself without fear of being judged, fixed, or ignored. When a man listens, truly listens, he builds trust. And trust is the foundation of intimacy. A woman wants to know that when she's vulnerable, you won't turn away, you won't make her wrong, and you won't make her feel too much. She wants to feel that you can hold her emotions without being overwhelmed by them. This doesn't require grand gestures or dramatic responses. It's in the little things. It's in noticing when her mood shifts, when her energy feels off, when her smile doesn't reach her eyes. It's asking softly and sincerely, "Are you okay?" It's giving her space when she needs it, but staying present enough for her to know you care. Women are deeply intuitive, but they also long for men who are emotionally aware. When she feels seen without having to scream for attention, she connects with you on a much deeper level. And here's the irony. When you tune into her emotional cues, you don't just make her feel understood, you make her feel safe. Safety is one of the strongest drivers of attraction for a woman. When she knows she can be her most vulnerable self around you without judgment or rejection, she doesn't just stay, she chooses you over and over again. Ignoring her emotions might seem harmless in the moment, but over time, it erodes the very foundation of connection. Paying attention, on the other hand, strengthens everything.